Well, this has been a thing for a couple of weeks now, so let's talk about it. The Nintendo Creators Program. For those of you not in the know about this, the Nintendo Creators Program is basically a set of rules set forth by Nintendo which dictates under what conditions YouTubers can monetize videos that contain content taken from their games. And the rules include how much money YouTubers will get, what they can do with the content, and what games this applies to. At the moment, the program is only in the beta stages, but even so, it's stirred up a lot of talk about it, with a large majority of it being negative. And to be completely honest, I'm with the majority on this. And I know you might think that's because I have a bit of a biased viewpoint, because I do video game stuff on YouTube and the majority of it is Nintendo stuff, and so you think I might be saying this because I think I'm entitled to the money. But this really doesn't affect me personally at all. Whilst I do monetize a large majority of the content I put here on this channel, I make practically nothing off it. YouTube is not now, nor has it ever been, my primary source of income. And if Nintendo wants to put claims so they can monetize on my videos, they can go right ahead, and I hope they and the couple of pennies they'll make off my videos are very happy together. Also, this will not discourage me from making videos in the future involving Nintendo games. The only possible change to this stance I see in the future is if Nintendo goes further and starts removing videos that include some of their content, as that could potentially delete my channel altogether, and that's something I really don't want to happen. But anyway, what I wanted to do in this video was basically talk about stuff from the program, using screenshots and quotes from the one area people dare to look, the terms and conditions. Yeah, I know it's kinda dry, but I figured that since I want to be talking about this, I might as well get the facts on this stuff. First up's the user guide, starting out with a short guide on how the program works, how to set it up, etc, all that stuff. It also contains a set of registration rules, the first being that you can register single videos or entire channels, and the second being when you register a channel you will be eligible to receive a share of advertising revenue from Nintendo for all videos included in that channel, regardless of their content. So if you only want some videos to apply to this program, please register each video individually. So your choices are either you register each video one by one, or you basically join in what is a network partnership with Nintendo and get revenue from them for every video you upload to that channel. What's also listed here is the amount of revenue that's actually received from these options. You get 60% for each individual video, and 70% if you do an entire channel. Whilst I'm not with a network myself, so I can't really confirm this and talk about terms and conditions properly, but from looking into them, apparently 70% is about the normal going rate of revenue a person would get if they're a part of a network partnership. So I guess it's not that bad if you were to make a dedicated channel, except you get pretty much none of the other benefits that come from being a network partner. So why not just make a dedicated Nintendo channel? Well, you could, but it'd be really difficult to keep it up to date and in line with Nintendo's rules, as the third rule when using this program is that you are only able to use a specific list of games for your videos. And I'll delve into that list a little more later, but the list itself has only about 165 games on it. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's actually a really small library considering all the consoles and years that list spans across. And if you diverge from this list at all on your dedicated channel, you won't be getting any revenue from that channel at all until you delete the videos containing content from other games, and then resubmit your channel for approval at a later date. This not only limits the videos users can make, but also means that they will be having to be checking the list constantly and update their channel when new games are added or removed from the list. So you might then think that going for the video by video basis is a better fit for you, if you don't mind taking 10% less from the revenue that is. The problem with that is that Nintendo really hasn't been clear on what happens if you're using games that are theirs, but they're not on the list at all. Meaning you could possibly get all the revenue from them, or just 0% from them. But hey, at least you get to play games from other publishers on your channel. Another issue with this program that comes from the user guide is just that the program seems to be so slow. I believe it takes up to 3 days to get the content reviewed and the revenue for it finalised, which, 1, they've already appeared to have grossly underestimated the amount of people applying for this, so it'll take longer than the 3 days. And 2, A large amount of the views for a video will be within the first 3 days, meaning that people will be missing out on a huge amount of the revenue from that time whilst they're waiting for Nintendo to approve the content. On top of that, there's the payment schedule, wherein the amount of revenue being paid out will be calculated at the end of the month, which is fair enough, YouTube pays out monthly anyway. But then it can take up to another 2 months for that revenue to finally reach the content creators, which is kind of ridiculous. One thing I can say is actually pretty good from this page though is that Nintendo states that in order for a video or for a channel to have their content monetized, you need to clearly have this statement pretty much at like the top of the description or as an annotation or either spoken like straight at the start of the video. And I kind of like it because it's a good thing just because it's completely upfront and honest about the nature of the content and the revenue that the creator's getting out of it, so I completely understand that. The final thing from the user guides I wanted to show was this question from the FAQ at the bottom of the page. And bear this question in mind as we go to the terms of service. Why that question in particular though? The code of conduct for the Nintendo Creators Program states that creators can't engage in any discriminatory, defamatory, libelous, hateful, harassing, abusive, obscene, threatening, physically dangerous, unlawful, or any otherwise objectionable conduct in relation to the content or the Nintendo Creators Program. Now obviously, some of these are pretty self-explanatory, but in the context of being in relation to the content, what exactly can constitute as hateful, obscene, or objectionable? I mean, I occasionally swear in videos, not to an excessive amount, but it happens. Would that be classed as obscene? If I were to do a negative review of one of the games, would that be seen as hateful or otherwise objectionable conduct? I mean, I really hope it's not enforced like that, but this could be a massive censorship issue if it was, and sort of a, well, you're taking sales away from us by giving us bad reviews? We'll take away all of your revenue. Another thing from the Code of Conduct section of the Terms of Service is that creators are forbidden from doing anything that can bypass parts of the content. So if you know any particular bug or glitch in game that you want to show off because it can be helpful, well, then they have your revenue now. So I guess that means a lot of speedrunners won't be able to get ad revenue anymore on Nintendo videos. And have you ever recorded any footage where a bug or a glitch that you didn't intend to cause or didn't know about occurred whilst you were recording? Well, I guess now you have to record that footage over, or it's Nintendo's revenue now. Like I say, I really hope this isn't another case where it's enforced like this, but that's just how I'm reading it, and I'm not sure how else to interpret that really. Additionally, the license granted by you section within the Terms of Service makes it quite clear once someone signs up for this with Nintendo, Nintendo well and truly does own your videos and content, and they can use it however they wish in the future, and it's completely royalty free, so you will get nothing from it. You are literally providing Nintendo with free advertisements. I've heard people criticise the idea before that Let's Players, reviewers and all those other people giving companies free advertisement, saying that there's no way to prove that these people playing games have actually helped with the sales. I've always thought there was some truth to that statement though, as there are games that I definitely wouldn't have bought if I hadn't seen footage of them online at some point. And apparently Nintendo agrees with me, as they can now take whatever footage they want from people and edit it to be used in promotion of their own products. So yeah, if people register their videos or channel with Nintendo, they own them now. Forever. And if you don't believe me, check out the section directly underneath. And then the next excerpt from the terms to look at is from the termination section. There's a standard, if the rules are broken then the creator is removed from the program and all that. But on top of that, Nintendo can just discontinue this program for pretty much any reason they choose, including if it just becomes difficult to maintain. If the program does discontinue, then Nintendo will still get all the revenue from registered channels and videos, and then Nintendo can choose to remove any videos and text that they want. It's actually kind of scary for them to have this sort of power, because I mean there's nothing really stopping them from when they get to a point where they've got a sizable amount of money coming in from this scheme, they can just cut the program completely and then get 100% of the revenue rather than just 30 or 40% of the revenue. Oh, and if you're on this program, Nintendo gets to see your web browser history, because that's not an invasion of privacy at all. And there's nothing else really I can glean from this terms of service thing here, but I just thought I'd highlight this. Is this a likely potential occurrence from being a part of this. I mean, Jesus. And now onto the supported games. This is the list of games that Nintendo will allow people to play and get money from playing. As I mentioned earlier, despite it containing 11 consoles that span over 30 years of gaming, there are only about 165 games on this list. You might be looking at this thinking there's got to be more than that there, and you're not wrong technically. But let's just remove all the titles that aren't really games here, such as the Animal Crossing Plaza and the Photos With series. Then remove the multiple versions of the same game because, let's face it, if someone decides to play Nintendogs for YouTube, they're really only going to play one version of it. And then let's remove all but the most recent versions of games that have been ported or remade across multiple systems, just so they're only listed once. And with all that, it really doesn't look like that much of a healthy list, does it? But I mean, I guess I should be a lot more grateful. I mean, look at the amazing range of games Nintendo is willing to let you play. I just can't tell you how many times I've been searching for a really good playthrough of golf. And I know how hard it must have been for them to give up on up to 70% of ad revenue for all those super popular Big Brain Academy videos. And thank goodness I can still keep everyone up to date with all my progress in Wii Fit U. But okay, let's just say I decide to open up a channel with purely Nintendo content and register it with this. What do I feel like playing on there? How about one of my all-time favourite series, Pokemon? There are no Pokemon games on this list. Okay. How about a game from one of my other favourite series, The Legend of Zelda? Alright, they're here. I know it's a little overdone, but how about an Ocarina of Time OP? Well, that sucks. What about Majora's Mask? I prefer that one anyway. Huh. Well, okay. It's not my favourite series, but how about I play through the Pikmin games? Why would you do that? Okay, Paper Mario. Mario and Luigi? Animal Crossing? But that's the best one! Oh, I know. Super Smash Bros. Love that series. But that's got such a big online competitive community behind it. Why? Now do you see what I mean about how it could be difficult to run a dedicated Nintendo channel within this program? And these aren't the only examples from this list. You can comb through that thing and find plenty more games that require specific versions to play, series that are missing games, or even entire series being absent altogether here. So even if people are gonna come up with dedicated Nintendo channels, they really won't be able to do what they want with them. And that's pretty much everything from the program site I wanted to talk about. As you can probably tell at this point, it's kind of a nightmare program. And the worst thing is that they will really probably get away with this completely because it's Nintendo. If they were literally any other developer, the backlash from this would be unending and relentless. But hey, it's Nintendo, so they pretty much always get a free pass on this sort of thing. And I swear to God, I hope this doesn't set an example for other companies to follow in the future. I mean, Nintendo could have just done something pretty straightforward when it comes to the sort of thing that Microsoft did. But nope, just couldn't leave it as it was, which was pretty much nothing but a good thing for you already. I mean, it's nothing but free advertisement for you. If it's a good game, then people will see it and they'll want to buy it. And even if some people do have some negative opinions from a game that they're LPing or a game that they're reviewing, you can learn from them, you can see what you can do to change a game in the future. Like, it's a really great experience, like, having all this possible content come out of it. So, I mean, what's not to love about how the system was working beforehand? You could have pretty much done what Microsoft did, which gave us rules, but in all honesty, they were pretty good and acceptable rules. Like, seriously, companies, like, I know none of you are listening to me, but if you have the choice, follow something more like Microsoft rules. And just to finish this off with, I opened up by saying that this really doesn't affect me much. So who does it affect? Channels much bigger than mine, and generally speaking, those who are actually earning a living off YouTube. Like, this is their job now, they earn a living by doing Let's Plays and reviews and the like. So can I blame these people if they decide to stop doing Nintendo content or cut down on it? No, I can't because it would basically be them giving themselves a pay cut. And who would honestly volunteer to do that when other companies are perfectly fine with their content being covered by them without having a cut taken? And the irony of that is that these bigger channels are who you'd want to keep on board as much as possible, as they have a much wider reach than those of us who really won't be affected by the change. This program is really Nintendo shooting themselves and the fans who want to make videos about them in the foot. After talking about this for a pretty long time now, this is what I pretty much feel about the Nintendo's Creators Program. Pretty overwhelmingly negative, and hopefully you can see why after we've been through some of the rules and all the restrictions that Nintendo's putting down. But let me know what you guys think. Is there something a bit more positive about this program that I'm just not seeing here? Am I being too negative about this? Like, just let me know, guys. But no matter what you think, thank you guys so much for watching this, and I hope you're all having a really great day.